This is going. If you want to switch microphone or speaker, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. This always gets me. Okay. I have to make sure. This is. See, I hate when this is. Okay, good. All right, we're done. We're on. I think it's going everywhere. I muted it. Yes, that's good. All right, I'm going to make this tiny. I've discovered that I like to see us as well as see you. And then we get the comments live in case I missed them from Julie. So now, hi.
Hey.
We're on. Well, everybody in the universe, welcome back. I feel like I want to say like happy back to school or something.
Yeah.
It is Twiniversity, and this is kind of like an educational institution. Although we're not allowed to say that, believe it or not, that's crazy. The New York State forbids me from actually saying that we're an educational place. Well, hello world. So hi for the folks that are watching over on our Twiniversity page. I'm Nat. This is Alex. She has some buns in the oven, and we like to follow up with her and check in and see how things are going. So for the record, I haven't spoken to her since the last time that we all spoke to her, and I do like to say we.
Yes.
So part of it is because I like to find out with you guys. But during our chat today, if you have any questions, just put them in the comments. Julie is on, she's the wizard behind the curtain at Oz. So she is there, and she will shoot us questions whenever any pop up. But we got a lot of stuff to talk about today. I know I want to know everything. So how are things going?
Things are going reasonably well.
Okay. What does that mean?
They're very good with the babies. Everything's great with them, and they're healthy and growing well, and my sanity is going a little downhill.
All right.
But I think that's to be expected. I'm 31 and a half weeks now. So I'm getting there. It's definitely getting a bit more tough. So yeah, my other two pregnancies, the singleton pregnancies, were they were hard on me too. And so when we found out that we were expecting again, I was thinking, oh my goodness, I have to go through this again. And now it's double. So things are just happening a lot sooner, and it catches me by surprise when these things, like when things happen. So Braxton Hicks or swollen feet and exhaustion, those kind of things. So I'm just sitting here now on my mom's orders and I have my feet up on the couch, and I'm trying to rest, but it's really hard.
Yeah.
Especially when you're already a mom. So yeah, but things are going well with the babies, so good. That's great. Yeah.
Are you still carrying the big kids?
Amelia, no, she's the older one, 3.5. So she doesn't need care.
Yeah, she's not as.
She started big school, like preschool this last week. So she needed a few more hugs and cuddles.
Okay.
Which I've tried to give to her, but she understands my state as well. Sure. And then I still occasionally carry Charlie, but I shouldn't. He's like almost 30 pounds.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
I just rest him on top of my belly, and that be okay.
That's safe. That's good, right? We had in Twiniversity class this week, somebody asked us, they had a younger child, and they were like, how am I not supposed to do this? And it's funny because I'm curious of what our viewers do, but I don't know any mom that wasn't on, like, let's say if you were on like strict bed rest orders or something, but I really don't know any twin mom that hasn't picked up their child. And you got to think like everything in moderation, right? You're not going to like carry Charlie for, 2 miles uphill, but at the same time, you can't not hold him, and you can't not love him. It makes it really tough. And he's little. He's not quite comprehending this like your daughter is. So it's tougher, but I'm glad that you're resting. So now that she's in school, is it giving you more time to rest?
That's the idea.
Well, I know, but that's why I'm asking, because of course that is the idea. But sometimes people just fill up that time with
Yeah.
other things, saying, well, this was my plan and this is why the kids are in preschool. But, we had to paint the basement or whatever.
I'm kind of in those shoes.
Okay.
They're both in school and daycare full time.
Okay.
So that should give me lots of time to just rest at home. But I'm trying to tie up some loose ends with work. I have a couple clients that still need my attention. So I could pass those off, and I've been starting to pass off clients that are just coming to me now. So the ones that I've been working with in the past few months, that I'm holding on to them and just trying to fix them up with what they need, and then trying to rest. But I'm trying to do work in bed or on the couch and from home as I can, and then rest when I can. But it's hard. That's my plan. I would say this week I have like half a day every day this week to speed up, and then next week I have hopefully full days. So.
It's interesting because I'm sure that since you're an experienced mom, you don't realize that this is one of your jobs.
Yeah.
I think that if people took pregnancy as a job, then they would rest more. But often pregnancy is like an ailment, right? People are like, oh, it's like when I have a cold. But it's not really an ailment because it doesn't just involve you.
Yes.
It really is a job. You really have two bosses that are trying to get you to do the right thing. It's just you're breaking all the rules and you're going to be fired soon. And that's called delivery day. And they're like, we're done. You're fired. That's how it goes. So you gotta view it as a job. I think because then people like us, and I do think that we're very type A-ish, you and I think that people that are like that, if you view it like a job, then you take it as a different level of sincerity or severity. Let's say it's like, I got to do this. So sitting there, even though you feel like you're doing nothing and you're like, this is unproductive and I have 8,000 things to do. It's the opposite of that because you're working for them. So maybe just view it as being on the clock for the babies for 4 hours, and your job is to rest because that's what's going to make them better babies.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, I like that. I'll start thinking of it as a job.
Yes, it's a job because it will do jobs, but we won't rest.
Yeah. Yes.
Isn't that horrible? I think I'm the same exact way. So don't I don't want you to be like, Nat, she's so calm. No, I'm having a nervous breakdown at least 15 times a day. It's just how I do things. But when I was pregnant, I really wish that somebody would have, that was one thing that I wish somebody told me. And the other thing that I thought was mind blowing was that if the babies are crying, the babies are breathing.
Yes.
That was a big thing that I guess I never put two and two together because I'd be like, oh my God, they're going to die in the crib. And I was always so nervous. But then you're like, okay, if they're crying, they're breathing.
Well, if I'm doing my job.
You could let them cry for a second while you finish peeing or whatever it is that you're like, I gotta go, they're crying. So good. I'm glad that you're going to start your new job today that you've always had, but just totally neglected.
Yes. Yeah. Good. I need to.
And then what about prepping stuff? Is everything ready for them? How was the transition to the beds?
Oh, very surprisingly, it went really well. Amelia, well, we set up the loft bed, so it bunk bed, loft bed, and we tried the first night to put Amelia and Charlie in there together, and that was shambles.
Okay.
But we didn't really expect anything different, so we sent Amelia back to her old room for, I think it was 3 or 4 nights, while Charlie got accustomed to sleeping in his big boy bed. And it only took him a couple days, I would say, 2 nights and 2 days to figure it out and get comfortable. And before the end of the week, we transitioned Amelia into the top bunk. And by the end of the week, they were sleeping in there together very well. So it's interesting. Charlie doesn't get out of his bed, his crib. He still stays in there until we go in there to get him. He'll just call, mommy, mommy, or whatever. And then Amelia will say, Charlie, daddy's coming.
She's had enough.
Yeah, go back. Time. So they're great in there together, and they even go down to bed at the same time. Some nights, most nights we keep Amelia up like half an hour later, but it's actually worked out quite well. So that's given us the flexibility to get the nursery ready. And my mom, again, has been a saving grace with that. And my mom and my sister painted it for us about a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago now. Okay. And we're just doing the last pieces of it. So probably by the next time we talk, I can show it off to you, and and it'll be all done. So
that's so exciting. That's
we don't have say the car seats together yet, or the Mama-Roos. We need to assemble one of the Mama-Roos that we have. I didn't have the rock and plays. I know like twin moms love the rock and plays. I've heard great things about those. And I'm hoping just the Mama-Roos do the job, because we had one for the other two, and we are borrowing my sister-in-law's. So yeah.
I mean, honestly, I just keep it in perspective and remember that we didn't have anything nearly as much as our kids have. And I think we're okay. I think somehow we're fairly well adjusted to regular life. But, you get overly concerned with stuff, and then stuff starts to consume the house. And you don't want it to really go crazy because you have toys for the other two that you have to worry about. So it's a lot. But, you could always get stuff last minute too. I mean, stuff could be delivered to you within a matter of days.
Yeah.
I think that the rock and play is different than the Mama-Roo, though, because the rock and play, they really sleep, where the Mama-Roo, they really shouldn't be like really sleeping in there. But if you had them sleeping in the first time and everything worked out for you, then you got to do what's most comfortable for you.
Yeah, with Amelia, Charlie never took to it. He liked to be bounced instead, which was a mistake. Never do this, other moms. When I was 2 weeks to my due date, I started bouncing on one of those exercise balls to try and loosen things up and bounce down. and when you know it, when it came out, all he wanted was to be bounced on that stupid ball. And he liked to really be like bounced pretty high. So he didn't take to the Mama-Roo as well. So this time I'm like, I'm just going to sit quietly on the couch and not move. So hopefully the babies will just.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. You did it to him. That's what it was. With Mama-Roo, it's funny that you bring that up, because I always use the word aggressive when I talk about like swings and stuff. And I find that the Mama-Roo is not aggressive enough. I find that it's very gentle and it's soothing. And while that does work for some babies, i.e. the Charlies of the world, it doesn't work for. So that's why instead of the Mama-Roo, I usually recommend a swing. Because if you got, like, let's say a Fisher-Price swing, it has the speeds. So it could be gentle, but then it could be aggressive. Yes. If you need to. And with twins, you really got to think about making sure that one could just be put someplace and happy while you attend to the other one. So yeah, like if somebody, does your sister have like a hand-me-down swing that you could borrow?
I don't know if they have a swing. We don't have any swings. We got one with Charlie to try it out, but he preferred to even be put in the car seat, and then we manually swing
we put him in a tree and just, that was it. That's where he lived. That is funny.
So I'm hoping. Amelia was not the same way. She loved the Mama-Roo, and probably for the first week and a half, we slept on the couch and she slept in the Mama-Roo beside us. and slept in there for her naps, maybe up to 3, until we transitioned her into the pack and play. But I'm hoping that we can do that with the twins too. So it might have to be a last minute kind of thing, because you're desperate. Like you get to those desperate, just need those babies to go to sleep.
Whatever. I'll buy one of the snake oil. I'll take 3. Yes. We're all there. I remember that. Not saying that gripe water doesn't work, but I don't know if you use gripe water with the first 2. It's like aniseed and like all of these herbs that are brewed into this water, and it's supposed to be really good for colic and gas. But I could remember that when the twins were colicky and gassy, it was like, whatever. It's like, what do you want me to give the kids? Like, you want me to take up this dirt and grind it up and put it in their formula? Okay, I'll do. That's what I feel like the gripe water was. But I do know that there is like a medicinal, like herbal end to it. But there was a piece of me that's like, this is just snake oil. Like, I'm really just buying into just pacify me in whatever way I can to get through the day.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Now, with the first 2, were you very like scheduled? Were you like, we get up at 7 and then we do things?
We both of them have always woken up at 6 in the morning. Sometimes 5:30. They're both early risers, and I don't think we've always put them down early, but it didn't matter when we put them down. They'd always be up at that time.
Okay.
So with Amelia, we are very regimented. I followed the I think it was the No Cry Sleep Solution book. 4 months for Amelia, and it took 3 days. We took a long weekend and did that, and then after that she was on her 3 nap a day schedule, going to bed at night. Worked really well. And then Charlie, even though he was such a pain to get to sleep in the first few weeks of his life, he really settled in. We didn't need to schedule him. He liked going to bed at 6:30 from the get-go, and sleep 12 hours. So we've been really lucky with him. But I have been doing a lot of reading in your book too, and our plan is at least once they're 4 months again, to put them on a schedule together. Before that, I've read it's like you should be, if one wakes up, wake the other up and change and feed. So that's our plan. I'm just wondering how you do that all on your own when, like, say just mom goes in, because I don't want both my husband and I to be sleep deprived. He has to work and I have to work too, but at least I get to stay at home and I can take naps throughout the day. So
that's funny though. You get to take naps throughout the day. I always laugh when people are like, yeah, we never take naps. I mean, you crash.
I know. I never. Yeah.
You fall down from exhaustion. That's called a nap. That's what we do. Well, with the twins, you'll just do one and the other. And you can do it by yourself. And many, many, many people, including myself, did it by themselves, because I was in the same situation that you were, that I was fortunate enough to be home during the day with them. So I was like, I'll rest when I can, although that's why I say we just collapse and I would wake up. We have The Price is Right. You ever watch that game show? When I heard the theme song to that, I knew that I had to get up to feed them again, but that would be like my big crash in the morning, would be for the hour before that. But you just always change them before a feed. Don't feed them like quickly to just give them some food. It's worth taking the extra few minutes to change them, because then if they do fall asleep, you don't have to worry about them being in that diaper. I also think that like overnight diapers, you should really consider using like the Baby Dry ones that are for the 12 hours. So even if you used a different diaper during the day, maybe have a few of those, because it could keep them dry. Let's say they did sleep in the beginning, not saying that guaranteed that they will, but if they did, at least we know that the diaper could be absorbed and then they're not waking up for wetness. Right. That's kind of, because then that's just silly.
Yeah.
But always change before, and you just take care of the angriest baby first. That's it. And then that's where like the Mama-Ru and the aggressive swing come into play, and pacifiers. I don't know if your other two
Yes.
use pacifiers, but this is the time to bust them all out and get them in every shape and size. But just be very careful that you move sizes when they do. So like the 0 to 3 months, and then some of them are 3 to 6 months, but you don't want to screw up their little baby.
Yeah. Yes.
But you could do it. And it just seems impossible. But just like if you never changed a diaper before, and then you change your first diaper, by the time you change your 60th diaper, you're a professional and you didn't even realize that you're a professional. This is the same thing in the middle of the nights with 20s. You're just going to be like, another night. I made it through. And there'll be nights that you'll have to wake them up. There'll be nights that you won't be able to really manage, and maybe somebody's colicky, or maybe they're going through a growth spurt and you just can't handle it by yourself. But hopefully those, nights will be few and far between. But you could do it. I don't want you to think that you can't. You certainly can.
Yeah, it's just another mind hurdle, I guess. Something that you have to get used to, another routine. Yeah.
It is. That's really what it is. It's just another routine. And the day routine, it's interesting because your day routine and your night routine are going to be pretty much exact. They're going to be the same thing, except you're going to be by yourself.
Yeah.
So with the night, just don't turn the lights on as much. And maybe if they're on formula, have the bottles ready to go. Like, you don't want to start messing with things. So prep as much as you can. And then also, I'm sure like your other sleep solutions that you had, they all recommend a dream feed, right?
Yeah.
You're going to do a dream feed anyway, right before 11. And then maybe he could help you with that. And so maybe instead of you thinking that you're up all night, ideally, like best case scenario, and this is crazy, but maybe crazy enough that it just might work. If you went to bed at 7 and you slept from 7 p.m. till 3, just for like 2 or 3 weeks, it doesn't have to be like forever in a day, but to really, if you really need to be on in the middle of the night because they're not really used to taking their bottle or breastfeeding or whatever, but just consider you having an actual bedtime for the first 2 weeks.
Yeah, true. Go to bed at the same time as the kids.
Yeah, I always say, right, sleep when the baby sleeps. That's like the stupidest thing that anybody has ever said in the history of parenting.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I found with Amelia, I pumped exclusively her. So as soon as I put her down to nap, I was pumping, and it would take me like 40 minutes to pump. And then I would have half an hour, pretty much half an hour, another 40 minutes to do what I needed to do. But I needed to get stuff done. I couldn't nap for that time. So yeah, your day fills up really quickly.
Oh yeah. Are you planning on exclusively pumping this time around, or you're gonna try breastfeeding, or have you thought about it much? Which is funny saying, I'm gonna guess you have not only thought about this much, but overthought this 10 times over.
Oh, yeah, I've overthought it. Probably. I'm saying this, but it's a lot harder for me to actually do. I'm trying to be as open as possible every situation. So this kind of thing, the breastfeeding, I had my other two had tongue and lip ties.
Okay.
So
just jumped on. Wait, sorry. I'm trying to pause this so I could hear you. Okay, good. So tongue and lip ties, go on. You automatically started playing in another screen.
Okay. Yeah, they had tongue and lip ties. So that I didn't know it with Amelia. That's why I exclusively breastfed. Exclusively pumped. It wasn't my plan by any means. It just kind of happened that way. And then Charlie, I was just equipped with more information and more resources thanks to my doula. Okay. So I was able to have that fixed, and then I was to exclusively breastfeed until he was over a year old. So this time, and I did the formula with Amelia near the end of her first year too. Okay. So I'm open to all three, but I'm really, really hoping that I can make breastfeeding work and do pumping at the same time. And then I can have some help if there are people there to help feed them. With Charlie, I was so nervous because of what happened with Amelia. I was so nervous that introducing a bottle too early would throw him off the breast. And I didn't even try introducing it until he was maybe 3 months old, and that was way too late. He never took a bottle once.
A
So
lot of work for you.
yeah, it was a lot of,
Yeah,
but
that's a lot, Mama.
I enjoyed it. Like it didn't bother me at all. So this time, if I can get to enjoying it, I know there's two and it's a lot harder.
Mhm.
But maybe introduce it at 3 or 4 weeks, because I know that's the time frame that once they have it down, I guess if they do have tongue and lip ties, that kind of throws a wrench in it. So maybe a little bit longer, but not 3 months. And then I think we're going to order formula to have as a backup.
Good.
Anyway.
Do they give it to you in the hospital there?
Yes, they do give you samples of formula. We used a specific formula that we really liked for Amelia called Hall.
Okay.
And I ordered it from Germany back then, 4 years ago. I think there are other places that I can order it that I don't have to pay silly shipping for, but it was worth it. And it was pretty much the same price as buying, say, an organic formula here in Canada, except the organic measures in Germany are a little stricter. So yeah, so we'll probably order a box of like a few of each stage of that formula, just so I'm not stressed, because I remember that feeling with Amelia and things weren't going well. And I was like, oh my gosh, like we need to get formula, and you panic because you want baby to be fed. Like I keep seeing fed is best. And I really like seeing that, because then it takes the pressure off of moms. All moms are trying just to do their best every day. And I get the push for breastfeeding and I love it. But anytime people see a bottle these days, a lot of the time, even if there's breast milk in it, they're like, oh, what are you doing? And I'm like, I've pumped it. And even if I didn't, does it matter?
God, you're preaching to the choir. I love when I get hate letters from lactation consultants and stuff, because I come off as anti-breastfeeding, but it's funny because I'm not. I'm pro-mom. Like, you're my priority. I'm not saying that the babies are not, but I always, Julie and I always talk about it, that it's that oxygen mask theory. Like, unless you take care of yourself, so you put on your own oxygen mask first, you're no good to anybody else. And if breastfeeding is driving you crazy, or you can't do it, or it's too complicated, or the logistics of it are too much, or you're not producing enough, like, there's so many things, you have to have a backup. Not saying that you'll ever use the backup. We certainly have plenty of moms who are able to do it, but you do need a backup. You know what's an interesting formula choice that you may want to look into? So, I don't know if you have it up there, the company Earth's Best.
Yes. We have Earth's Best.
They have very, very high organic regulations.
Okay.
So it may be something that you could get at a grocery store up there, or even your pharmacy. So I would be curious to do a comparison of their regulations, because I know that as far as our country goes, I know that there's like people are super organic, and then one component that they use wasn't organic, so it's not organic. So I think that it's worth looking into. And it's also interesting because so many people are kind of making the change to an organic formula, and they assume that it's so expensive. But out of the ones that we've found at Twiniversity, they match, their, like, the price wise, they're exactly comparable to a conventional formula, except that you're giving your baby better ingredients.
Right.
So to me, I always hear like a lot of our moms that are like, it's too expensive, I can't afford it. But yet nobody looks. They just assume that they can't afford it. But it's important. Just like, you wouldn't have fast food every day. You want to make sure that your babies are getting the best, and that's definitely a way to do that. But you're not the first. We have a lot of families that order formula from overseas. But now I'm finding in my own little research that we're doing, that's a fairly comparable formula to what's found overseas. And we could get it. because the overseas shipment, like if it's delayed or if there was an issue and you didn't order enough on that last time or took too long, you end up running to the store anyway and getting something to hold you off. So that's why I try to say, find something that is a little bit more convenient and just see if that works for you before thinking that anything on the other side of the pond is more effective. So I think it's worth it. But we have a lot of families in New York who have a similar mindset to you. But then also they do the same thing. They end up, filling in the blank of 3 weeks with like the garbage formula, and they're like, whatever, I just ran, it's only going to be temporary. Yeah, but why go crazy when something here is pretty good? So it's worth looking into. Okay. But it's funny. I don't want you to go crazy about the breastfeeding, and I want you just to take it every day as it comes.
Yeah.
One day may work better, or maybe one day is just latching on better, or maybe one day you don't feel connected to one baby and you want to use it as a way to kind of connect. But they don't check for tongue ties in the hospital, or is it something you could request maybe even in your birth plan, that in case you do forget to ask them, maybe it's someplace in the documents?
They do and lip ties, but this might be really bad to say, and I apologize to any nurses or doctors in Ontario who are on here, but I don't find that they're trained well enough, because I've heard so many stories that say like, oh, my baby, even in London alone, I'm in London, Ontario. So even babies who were checked at the hospital and they're like, oh no, there might be a slight one, but they should be fine. Yeah. And then you go for 2 weeks and it's super painful. And then you have, then you go to, say, the breastfeeding drop-in clinic that they offer for free. So you go there and they're like, yeah, there might be, but I don't think so. You should be fine. So they string you along, and then by the time you're like, okay, this is 2 months of pain, this shouldn't be happening. If you can get a good referral to a pediatric dentist, which we did with Charlie. We had a lactation consultant and my doula say that, like, I'm pretty sure he has a tongue tie, and then the lactation consultant said, I think there might be a little bit of a lip tie there too. Okay. And we went to the pediatric dentist here, and he's like, oh, that's like that. Those are both pretty serious. Yeah, we should have those done. And maybe it's because dentists are not publicly funded here. But I trust them. Like, if I think they run a good business, and
that's their expertise.
Yeah, that's expertise. And my friend had a similar experience. Dr. Jack Newman, he's like the breastfeeding guru. He has a clinic up in Toronto, and my friend saw 3 to 4, I think it was 4 different lactation consultants, and she was in a lot of pain for a couple months, and she decided to finally kind of self-refer, which you can't really do here often, but some doctors allow it. Okay. So she self-referred to his office and wrote a heartfelt email. Okay. And he got her in, and he said, like, for sure, your son has both a tongue and lip tie. And it's really frustrating, because if that was diagnosed from day one, yes, you get it fixed in the first week. Yeah. You're well on your way. But it's so frustrating and disheartening. So this time the pediatric dentist that we see, they said that even if the hospital doesn't detect anything, they'd be happy to slot them in the first week that they come home. So I'm like, okay, thank you. Like,
that's so funny, because look, I just wrote, I don't know, you can't see it, but I just said, my thing was, I was going to say, why don't you just make an appointment?
Yeah.
Make an appointment for the first week or even the second week, because we don't know what that week is going to be. But just let them know that, you're coming in. It's worth getting it checked. It's the peace of mind too. Like, let's hope that nothing's wrong, but just have somebody really look at these puppies to make sure that everything is good. Oh, you're so on it. See, look at you resting and doing things, calling the pediatrician.
I'm working on the rest.
Yes, that's you're doing so good. So what's your big plans coming up? You're going to finish the nursery. What else do we got to do?
Finishing the nursery. We were planning on this weekend to try out the car seats in our van and best arrangement so that we can get our kids now in the back in their seats. And we need to figure out if we can have Charlie still backwards facing. He's not yet 2. But we have to play around with those things and see what really works. So that's our plan, I think, for the weekend coming, getting the nursery done. And my basement is a huge mess right now because I've been sorting through clothes like a crazy lady. And I'm trying to get all the clothes worked out, like know what I have and what I need. And then I want to do the same with the toys because we put all the baby toys away. And I need to go through those, take them out and organize them, and go through the toys that the kids have out now and put away the tiny pieces that, like, we have a little cash register that comes with little tiny coins that are the size, they're plastic, but they're the size of real money. And it's a great toy. It's just not good for babies. So it's not that needs to be done now. It's just that I know I'll be so tired and exhausted and have other things on my plate when they're here, that I won't want to do that, or it'll be too late. I'll find a little penny somewhere.
That may be a job for Amelia. And here's why. If you gave her a toilet paper roll, like, you know, the tube on the inside, if something fits through there, it's got to go away. And it might be an interesting game for her to find what in this room fits through there and not, and try to get her involved, because that's not like the most boring thing to do. It's actually like a little bit of a challenge. I don't know. I know my little monkeys would love that. Even now at 12, I could probably sell them on the idea of going through all the toys. But you could, like, are you going to separate like where the babies are going to be from where Charlie and Amelia are? Because you certainly don't want to take toys away from them.
I think I might. We have the playroom downstairs, and then we have another play area on the main floor. And I think I might have the play area on the main floor just be books and baby toys. So I can just stay up here and I don't have to go down to the basement with them. That's probably a good idea, because Amelia last Christmas got my old Playmobil dollhouse, and Playmobil has all these tiny pieces, and I put the majority of them away, but even one of those little kid Playmobil toys goes through a toilet paper roll. So if the babies just have no access to that, then that would be handy. So I think that's a good idea, is just have separate.
I don't want you to put it away, because they're kids and they should be allowed to have toys, and it shouldn't be a punishment.
No,
they shouldn't be punished and not have toys. But yeah, if you could segregate it. But it's funny, just make sure that nothing comes up. When I was little, my sister fed one of those coins to me, and I ate it as a baby.
No way.
There's still a piece of me that's totally traumatized from that. My mom was more traumatized than I was, of course, but she did. And the way that she did it is she made me lie on the floor, and she would drop them in my mouth, and that was the game. And then there's like, but it's funny, because I was like, well, Mom, like, it's your fault. That is, like, as an adult, now this is when I'm 40, I tell my mom, it's your fault that happened. You should have been watching us. My mom's like, I was doing laundry or whatever. But I thought that was so funny, because she was really good about keeping everything away. But my sister is just my sister, and she just found way to get this little coin inside of my belly, and I ate it, and my mom had to wait for it to pass, old school style, and it did, and everything was okay. But it's funny, because if I think of all my childhood memories, that's one of them. I was really little when she did that. I thought I was gonna die. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna die. And my sister thought she killed me. So my sister, I murdered my baby sister. So we live to tell. Sometimes you eat a coin or two. As
Yeah.
long, as long as everybody knows about it, we're okay. But yeah, you got to make sure of that choking hazard. It's a really, really big deal.
Yeah.
Did you by any chance go to a baby CPR class yet?
Did not was it was last Tuesday.
Good.
It's this free one that's offered at one of these children's furniture stores in London.
That's
And
great.
yeah, it's just an hour. Like, it's a really good refresher, and
Okay.
it's a quick lesson in the infant CPR and talking about what they can choke on and how to prevent it. And it was really handy. So I went with Chris, my husband, and my mom came too.
Very good.
And yeah, we got to practice on those baby mannequin dolls.
Good.
And we definitely feel a lot more comfortable. But yeah, it brought up a lot of things for us too that we even do with Amelia and Charlie. Like, Amelia's anyone can choke, but Amelia's past the stage where she's putting everything in her mouth. Charlie, sometimes he because he's food motivated. So if he thinks like food going in his mouth. So yeah.
See, I think that's a boy thing too.
Yeah.
So you get an A+ for doing your homework from last week that you had to do your CPR class. But yeah, I think, and you know what's interesting, that not only should you go now while they're babies, but you might want to consider going, every year. Like when the babies turn 1, just think about going for that hour-long refresher, because the choking danger isn't only infancy. It actually goes well through toddlerhood, even into school age. And it's just some good stuff to know, even if you, God forbid, I mean, you'll never need it for your kids, but even if you were at a friend's house or something, somebody should know it. So yeah, so that's good. So Julie wanted me to tell you about the A+. So she's texting me on the sneak.
Yeah.
Well, we're good. So do you have any questions for me for what's coming up?
I had a couple of things for you, and then maybe for other moms who already have twins to pipe up and talk about. But I can't believe how much I'm feeling Braxton Hicks contractions.
Yeah.
And they're getting stronger and stronger and more, I wouldn't say regular, but they definitely are hurting and uncomfortable and make me not be able to breathe. So it's weird. I get them when I'm driving most often.
Really?
Yeah.
It could be your leg, that it could be your right leg, moving your leg from the pedal and it's screwing with your little ligaments on the round side, on this side. So that's, by the way, that's not crazy to say that you've gotten it while driving. Of course, it's the worst time to get these, but are you staying hydrated?
Yes, trying to.
Okay.
So I'm, especially when I feel any contraction in the middle of the day, I run and grab but I go and grab some water. So yeah, I'm trying that. And a couple weeks ago, a week and a half ago, maybe, I was really concerned about it because they were just back to back in the evening, and I know they're worse in the evening. So I called my doula, and she's like, "Oh, just go have a shower, go lay down, have something to drink, have some ice water," and they did settle. They were a little bit better, but I only experienced them maybe for 2 or 3 weeks before Charlie was born, and I had a lot of false labor with Charlie, like beyond the Braxton Hicks. But Amelia, I didn't feel anything, and then these started, I would say, at 23 weeks.
Okay.
And they've just gotten worse. So having those and my swollen feet now, I'm just feeling extra pregnant. So yeah, I wanted to know, one of my main questions is if other people had experienced that, and also in the 3rd trimester with twins, how other moms were feeling mentally, because I feel like I'm going back to how I felt in my 1st trimester. All that worry is coming up. It feels like the babies are just going to be here any day now. It's not, I hope not, but even
I think you're okay.
I'm still 7 weeks away, but I know that 7 weeks is going to go really quickly and freaks me out. So, yeah.
All right. All right. So though we've posted our questions, people will start replying and everybody will talk about it. We do have a request. Will you show us your belly? Somebody wanted to see how big you were at 31 weeks.
Sure.
Could you stand?
I can stand.
Could you do it? Are you going to make an exception to the relaxing rule?
Yes, I'll make an
I
exception.
blame Kylie for all of this. Did you watch any of the live feeds I did with Kylie and her belly? She was just crazy. That was crazy.
Yeah, I was glad because I think I watched the second to last one of Kylie before she had me.
Yes.
What way
You're doing perfectly. You're perfect. You're absolutely perfect. That's a great sweater.
You. It's my
sister. Is it a maternity sweater?
No,
it's a sweater. It's so great. It looks so comfortable.
It is. I'm actually kind of warm in it now. It's a nice fall day.
I would just live in that sweater. That's it. I'm a big fan of the sweaters. As far as your stress goes, that's on point. Of course, this is like, it's getting real now. You know, it's like when you're getting married and now you're at the church.
Yeah.
This is it. Like it's game time now. You really just, any negative thoughts that you have though, you really just gotta kind of push out. But at the same time, you really want to see the good thing is that you're winning on that. A lot of people don't, is that you've done this. So your body knows what's real and what's not. But I also don't want you to underreact because you think you know what the real stuff is. So like the leg swelling, like you got to tell the doctor because that could be a sign of preeclampsia, right? So we get edema and that's like a big deal. And sometimes with a new mom, they choose not to say anything because they're scared and they don't want to know. And an experienced mom is like, I got this. I never saw this before. It's nothing I have to worry about. So I don't want you to underreact or overreact, but I think that you just have to make sure that when you go to the doctor, you tell them. Also, could you text your doctor or email your doctor when you don't have an appointment?
No, it's kind of hard to get in touch with them. I can call the office and leave a message and then they'll call me back once they talk to him.
Okay.
That's it's hard because at this point, especially in the pregnancy, I'm worried about making too big of a deal of something and calling triage and saying, I'm experiencing this. What do you think I should do? And most of the time, I just know they're going to be like, well, come in, we'll check you out. And I don't want to go see them. Yeah. I don't want them to say, oh, let's hold you for a couple days and figure this out. Like I want to be at home. So it's a really hard balance for me because I want questions answered, but I don't want to have to go get trapped in a hospital just to have answered. I just want to be home. Yes. And I know if I'm trapped in the hospital, I'm there for a good reason. But if I can prevent going and just relax and rest at home, then I want to try and do that too. So
when's your next appointment? You're going once a week, once every other week? What's the schedule like now?
I'm going every other week. I think after this visit, I'm going to start to go every week.
Yeah.
And I have my next visit on Thursday.
Okay. So basically 32. And now it'll be through the whole thing. And you have a C-section scheduled? No,
I don't. That's one of my questions for him when I go on Thursday, because I don't know at what point they schedule a C-section or an induction.
Okay.
They wait till like 2 weeks before or what? Because baby A has been, her last time we went in, she was bummed down. And every time before that, except for say maybe anything before 20 weeks, she's been transverse. So both of them have been transfers. So for her to go head down, I know they flip around so easily.
Yes.
And it might happen. And she's more chill down there though. She doesn't seem to really care to move around that. So I don't know if I will end up having a C-section yet or be induced, or have it go.
Well,
now.
what's the one thing that you think is worrying about you most, like that you're worried about most? Like, is there something that comes up a lot, or is it a general anxiety, like that you're always just anxious and you feel kind of this elephant on your chest? Or is it like, I'm worried that I'm not going to spend enough time with one, or I'm worried that my other two are going to forget who I am? Like, is that, by the way, that's nothing you should worry about, but are you worried about that?
I wouldn't say there's one thing I'm worried about, because there are many. And one of those things is having our family change from 2 to 4 and not being able to give that attention to Amelia and Charlie that they're used to getting. Another worry I would say is kind of going through this alone, because I feel like my husband and I need to divide and conquer. He needs to kind of take care of Amelia and Charlie and their needs, and make sure that they still have a parent present. And then I feel like I am going through this whole thing alone too, and needing to be there just for the twins. So that's probably one of my bigger concerns too. And then because I'm such a type A planner, anything that's unknown just freaks me out, and I'm trying to be open about it. But and I'm open to having a C-section. I'm open to having them vaginally with an epidural.
Yeah.
I'm worried though that if I decide if baby A is head down and I decide to go the vaginal route, then baby B, who's been a pain in the butt a lot of the time because she just flips around and does her own thing. I'm worried that she will be the pain on delivery day and will not, like, I feel like she's, when you like put yourself against, no, I'm not coming out.
She's not coming out. She finally got a room to herself and she's just not having it. Yes. That's funny. And then if that happens, Julie had one vaginally and one C-section. I don't know if you know that. So if you're thinking about like, who do I know? And I know you like technically like don't know us, but honestly, you do know us. So like Julie did, she lives to tell. We talk about it often. I use her as an example more than you know. It doesn't happen often, but it does happen. And when it happens, when you're on the other side of the fence, it's going to be the last thing you think about.
You think so?
Yeah, because there's a million other things that you have to do once the babies are born. Vaginal or C-section, they still have to eat. You still have to get up. You still have to take care of yourself. It's not really in your control. And I'd rather you worry about things that are in your control. Mm-hmm. That's what I'd rather. I'd rather you put more effort into making time to make sure that you're resting than in unnecessarily worrying about something that A, may never happen, and B, if it happened, it didn't happen by anybody's fault.
Right.
Except the babies. You could blame them for the rest of their life.
They owe me.
I said that to my kids this weekend. And they're going to be 13 any moment now. And I'm like, FYI, I don't remember what it was, but I like to often use that as a reason why they have to do things for me. And I'm like, they'll be like, I didn't ask for that. I'm like, you know what? I didn't ask if you wanted to unload the dishwasher. Nobody asked me if I wanted to carry you all those weeks. That was
Yeah.
So they get up and they're like, because how are you going to argue with that? I love to use the fact that they lived in me or something. I was like, this is where you lived here. This was your first home. I don't want to go make your bed or whatever it was. So yes, you really got to focus on the things that you can. And I do, Alex, trust me, I know that it's easier said than done. That's the thing. It's that I could tell you, don't worry about it. I'm not going to tell you don't worry about it. I'm going to tell you to worry about other things.
Okay.
Because you're going to worry. You're always going to worry. We're worrying people. We're controlling people. But there's other things that you could worry about. So you could worry about, do you have enough cell phone minutes if you're in the hospital? Are all the toys sorted? And you could lay there on the couch and you could set it up. Have your mom bring the toys up. And then you could set it up now because there could be little toys upstairs and say, we're going to play a game. I'm going to sit here. And I'm going to be like the drill sergeant, and you guys have to do what I say. And it's a new game. So step 1, everybody hold your tube. Step 2, does this fit through the tube? It has to go downstairs.
Great.
So, that's something you could do. And any time that you start getting like super stressed,
Right.
just think about their first birthday. That
Okay.
first birthday party, and what color will their cake be? And will you decorate the house? And are we having a big party? And if we're having a big party, how are Charlie and Amelia going to be involved in this? Are we going to have Amelia help plan the party? Start going down that rabbit hole because it's a much more fun one than anything else. And then, there's so many great things that are coming up that we can plan. We can start planning right now. We can start planning for where they're going to go to college and how far away. They can't live more than 45 minutes away, and things like that, or your first family vacation, or your first holiday, or how are we going to handle the holidays? And that's what you really got to focus on, because sadly, we can't control anything physical, and if I'd rather, truthfully, I know it sounds crazy, I'd rather you call triage and let them say, okay, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be your doctor. There might be a nurse in your doctor's office that you could befriend and say, Kate, random, I named her Kate today. Kate, I'm always a little bit worried. I don't know if you have other twin moms, but maybe you could meet other twin moms in your area. So if anybody's in London, Ontario right now that's watching it, let us know. The other thing that I want to do that I thought about, why don't we do our next meeting with Chelsea? Did you ever watch me do any with Chelsea?
I think so, yes.
Her babies are a little bit older, or Kylie. Like maybe we'll do a group one, because Kylie's managing the older baby,
I know,
and tiny babies and the dogs, and she's like, fitness superstar extraordinaire and eating green shakes. She's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I want to create a statue in my house and just put it of her to remind me of how unhealthy I am every single day as I sit here and drink like my 9th cup of coffee. Be like, oh no, what would Kylie do? Yes. But I think that would that make you feel comfortable? If
yeah,
you like speak to her? I would love that.
Nice.
Yeah, those are like my little Twiniversity family, and I like when we all play in the same sandbox. It makes me very happy.
Me too.
All right, so that's what we're going to do for our next call, and we're definitely doing this again before these babies are here. I don't care how you feel about it. There's just, you got plenty of time. You can make time for us, because this is really a lot of us right now. No pressure, but we've already had almost 2,000 people watch. So no pressure, Alex. Just saying. But it's an underserved community. We've always been. And even though I could write 37 articles, people really want to see somebody who's going through it. When they realize that they're freaking out and they're stressed, that you're comforting to them. Although you're stressed, it's like, thank you for being stressed, because it's bringing us comfort. So this was great. This was a great distraction for me. This is a crappy day as a New Yorker. So I was very excited that we did this today. And I thank you very much for the distraction. It's good. And we'll see you in a little bit. And then if you need me, where I am.
Yep, I do.
All right, Mamacita. All right. So if anybody has any more questions for Alex, you could post them up here. We will shoot them over to her if that's okay with you. Yeah. And we know where to find you too, Mama. All right, girl. So go and rest. This did not count as rest, by the way. I just want you to know, you need real rest with no talking for at least 20 minutes.
Okay, I'll put on.
Go watch something on Bravo. Go watch something great. All right, girl. Have a great day. I'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Bye, Mama.